hurricane-strength wind gusts at Dallas Love Field Airport, at one point knocking out power to that major transportation hub. An overhead sign crashing down outside a nearby restaurant.
And Ariel Reshef joins us now live. Ariel, we saw the harrowing video of the crane swinging before it came down. And right there at the end of your report, those powerful winds that battered the area.
That's right, Tom. Those intense wind gusts reached up to 7.
Wow, she had a weird name. Look at that name. That was, let's see if I can back it up just to her. There it is. Okay, back it up. Ariel. But it's Reshef. Ariel Reshef. Looks like the name should have been backwards. Like her name, if it was backwards, would be Fesher. Ellery. Yeah, I think that name's better. Ellery is a better name than Ellery. I guess it's the same. Same both ways. She could be a palindrome. Anyway.
Reached up to 71 miles per hour.
Okay, so that's what it really comes down to, is that the wind was going 71 miles an hour.
Knocking out power to at least 250,000 people in the Dallas County area alone. And tonight, Tom, we know first responders are still on the scene of that deadly crane collapse, combing through rubble, looking for any other potential victims. Tom?
Still a very active scene out there in Dallas. All right, Ariel, thank you.
That's just amazing.
Hi, everyone.
Well, you know, Hershey Medical Center, they're adding on to the Children's Hospital. And they brought in a huge crane, and I'm surprised that, you know, with all the storms and stuff that we had, something like that didn't happen.
Well, I guess it's a matter of if it's your time. Here's another one. Amusement park was evacuated in Los Angeles.
If you manage a team.
Well, we're going to be going to have to listen to her talk or not.
She's got the wrong day of the week up there.
Yeah, I also stopped it by accident. Okay. Anyway, so here we have a situation where you're going to an amusement park and thinking it's going to be a decent day, you think? Because most of the time you don't have a bad time at an amusement park unless you're with someone that doesn't want to be there. And
have you ever had bad days like that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I think that sadly that is the case for some people, but that's because some people don't know how to have fun. Anyway, so this in Los Angeles, this particular. All right, get done with your commercial. Got a long commercial. Jeez.
It says skip.
A fast-moving brush fire shut down one of America's most popular theme parks.
Is that the same guy?
A huge plume of smoke towards
He's getting a lot of work.
Magic Mountain, just north of Los Angeles. Families initially told to get out by park management before fire officials turned around and said it was too dangerous to leave. Tonight, those guests have begun to evacuate, and our Marcy Gonzalez is there.
Tonight, a scary scene near one of America's biggest amusement parks. A fast-moving brush fire breaking out near Six Flags Magic Mountain outside of Los Angeles. At least 9 people transported to hospitals for smoke exposure. You can see the thick plumes.
Now, how much would it piss you off if you paid $100 for a ticket or whatever it is, and you had to leave because it's on fire? That would suck. That would suck big time.
Behind some of the park's popular water slides. Guests initially told by the park to evacuate. Panicked parents and children racing to the exit.
And they're in the water. Why should they have to leave? It's on fire. You're in the best place to be is the water.
You could see the blaze burning with fire crews nearby. But LA County Fire asking those guests to stay put while 100 county firefighters battled the flames.
That's amazing.
All right, Marcy Gonzalez joins us now live from that theme park. Marcy, the skies behind you, we can see they are clear now, and guests are being allowed to leave. But there was a real concern at one point that the fire could get inside.
That's right, Tom. The fear was initially that the flames could go into the park because first responders said this fire was so significant. But the flames are now out, the smoke is clearing, and we've now learned the park will remain closed until tomorrow. Tom.
Marcy Gonzalez for us tonight. Marcy.
That's a shame, but hey, it happens. The I'd hate to have spent that kind of money though on a ticket and have to.
I'd be asking for a refund.
They probably got vouchers, you know. They probably didn't get refunds. They probably got vouchers, but
free ticket would work as long as you didn't lose your wallet.
Yeah, like certain people that get free movie tickets and can't remember where they lose their wallet.
Well, it happens.
You never did find your wallet, did you?
No.
I don't know. So, anyway, as communities celebrate Pride Month, Detroit police arrest a teen for murder of gay men.
Oh, jeez.
And they charged the teen with murder of gay men and transgender women. So for some reason, this person felt that they have such hatred for gay men and transgender men that they're going to go out there and kill them. That just, to me, doesn't really make sense. You know, if you dislike a type of person, you stay away from that type of person. You don't kill them. I mean, that should be logical, but it seems to be lost on some people, where they don't choose to do what's right. They choose to do what they think they have to do. I don't know. I can't understand it. I have a hard time with understanding why anybody would hurt another person, physically, emotionally, whatever. But it seems to happen anyway. So, and I've been accused of hurting others emotionally. But anyway.
They probably deserved it.
Here we go.
Right, 2 gay men and a transgender woman were killed in what prosecutors are calling a hate crime. A teenager is now facing 3 counts of first-degree murder in their deaths, and this is happening during Pride Month. This is 18-year-old Devin Robinson. He's accused of shooting and killing the victims inside a home on Memorial Day weekend. Investigators say the teen targeted them because of their sexual orientation. Robinson is being held without bail in Detroit. He's scheduled to appear for a probable cause hearing on June 21st. And we learn of this arrest among the backdrop of June being Pride Month and events being held throughout this month to recognize the impact LGBTQ people have had in the world.
It is interesting the Detroit story you open with, because it is emblematic of something, right? Which is that a lot of these are happening in big cities, and they're liberal cities.
Yeah.
But also, people don't always recognize that the #1 place that hate crimes against LGBT people happen is actually in the home. Second is on the street. And it's rare at bars. So it used to be that people would target places that LGBT people congregated, and so there would be bars and there are safe spaces, and there would be harassment there. That is less the issue now, and it's more an issue of people refusing to be segregated, refusing to hide their identities, refusing to live in a gay ghetto, and presenting themselves as they are and being open in the street. And people are responding to that in ways that are incredibly harmful and sometimes criminal.
It's such a shame. And even in the even if they're in the gay ghettos or whatever that they decided to call that, they're still dying.
Right.
These people are targets of hate crimes for whatever reason. So I just don't understand how you could hate someone that bad who you don't even know and just decide to go after them and try to make them pay for it, or they're going to die or whatever it is. It's such a shame.
Well, I thought I sent you something. Oh, yeah. Pride and transgender flags are to be hung from the Capitol building right here in Harrisburg.
Yeah. I did see that, and I didn't move it over because I thought I had it. But just in case I don't. Okay, where you at? Oh, now let go. Let's see, where's it at? There it is. I think I have an article like that you sent over. Yeah, Pride and transgender flags to be held from the PA Capitol building.
Wonder if they're going to hang them inside or outside.
I would imagine outside.
That'd be kind of cool to get a picture of if they do.
No, it doesn't actually.
I know. I was looking.
Oh, here
at
it is. I was
white
honored.
at the bottom.
This morning I was honored to order the display of Philly pride flag and transgender flag to be flown outside the Capitol for the first time. The flags will be displayed from your Lieutenant Governor office balcony through June. So, more power to them. I like that. It's nice that they are trying to take care of the people. So, because they're people too.
Yes, that's true.
No matter how much you like or don't like them, they're still people, and they're going to be around whether you like it or... Yeah, I do. Wait, I do have it. Here it is. Well, that's not the same. I thought this was the same one. This is another article about the rise in attacks.
Monday.com is a platform to manage any
rise in attacks against the LGBT community during Pride Month is apparently at an all high.
Next to what investigators are describing as a deadly hate crime attack, targeting the LGBTQ community as millions celebrate Pride Month. Tonight, the major arrest in a gruesome series of murders. 3 people killed, 2 others shot. Prosecutors saying the victims were targeted because they were gay or transgender. ABC's Lana Zach with the details.
Tonight, police are investigating multiple deadly shootings, allegedly targeting members of the LGBTQ community. In Detroit, authorities have charged this man, Devon Robinson, in the killing of 3 people: Paris Cameron, Timothy Blanchard, and Alante Davis. Robinson has pled not guilty. Authorities claim his victims were targeted because they were gay or transgender.
It's rough.
We just want justice. Justice.
Justice for
yeah, just justice. Just for all of them.
In Georgia, one of 4 states without a hate crime law, police are searching for the gunman who killed Ronald Trey Peters on the way to work.
The driver jumped out with a mask on, and you hear pop, and Trey just locked up and fell over.
Witnesses say his attacker used an anti-gay slur before shooting Peters multiple times, first in the chest and then in the neck as he lay on the ground. Police are labeling the case a hate-motivated crime. The celebrations at the Capitol Pride Parade tonight marred by the recent rash of hate crimes.
Why should that end your life just for being who you are?
According to the FBI, reports of attacks against members of the LGBTQ community are up over previous years.
I feel like lately we've been moving a little bit backwards, and I think it's important to stand up for what matters.
All right.
For what matters.
And Tom, in the Detroit case, Robinson allegedly shot 2 others. He has been charged with murder in the first degree in 3 counts and 2 counts of assault with intent to kill. Tom?
Lana, thank you.
Hi. So that just kind of sucks. It just, there's no reason for that.
I mean, why can't we just all get along?
That's the thing. If you don't like someone, you stay away from them. That's really what the bottom line is. There's no reason for any kind of confrontation. There's no reason for any death, any beating up. You know, people are going to be what they're going to be. So, anyway, Jimmy Carter's back in the news. When was the last time you heard that name?
Just the other day.
Well, here he is. After hip surgery, he's back teaching Sunday school, and he's talking to Donald Trump on the phone. So there you go. If you're former President Jimmy Carter, you can get to talk to Trump.
Well, I'm not former president, so.
Yeah, I can't either. Can't get on there. Can't make the call either.
He probably has your number blocked.
He would want to talk to me. Remember, I voted for him.
Yeah, that's true.
So and I talked about him on the show a lot. For better or for worse.
And people probably took the clips and redid everything and took clips of your other one and made it sound real negative. And
well, they may not have to do too much to do that. Anyway, it says here, former President Jimmy Carter talked about his health setback and his conversation with Donald Trump as he returned to teaching Sunday school in Georgia for the first time since breaking his hip. Let's hear what he had to say. Hopefully. Maybe not. Because this is AOL. and they're still running off regular modems. 9,600 baud. Slow. Anyway, I'll talk about it because it's taking too long for it to load up. Carter told people gathered in. Oh, here we go. There he is. Man, he's looking old, but I guess he is old now. I mean, oh, okay, they're all getting pictures with him.
Rosen broke her hip because of osteoporosis 3 weeks before I did. And she was in the hospital. I was with her at Emory University and then also in Americas. And then I broke my hip.
They're taking turns
3
going to
weeks
the hospital.
ago. And I was waiting for Rosen to come pick me up. And I got a telephone call while I was waiting. I already had my bags packed. And it said, Rosen has had a stroke and she can't speak. And I almost fainted, but it turned out that it was a TIA. Many of you know what it is. It's a temporary inability. And so after 2 days in the hospital, we came home, and we've been home ever since. We have nursing care around the clock just to take care of us and help us to move around our own house.
That's what I would want if I were in that situation. Stay in your own house, have people come out and just check up on you, do what they have to do around the house and stuff. So I wouldn't want to live in a nursing home. So 94-year-old Carter broke his hip last month at his home when he fell leaving to go turkey hunting. He subsequently had hip replacement surgery, and the former First Lady was hospitalized around the same time for what Carter said was initially thought to be a stroke, but it turned out to be less serious. A devout Christian, Carter regularly teaches Sunday school in Plains, drawing hundreds of visitors for each session, but he had to cancel plans to teach after his hip surgery. Well, that's not dedication. If you can't do it with your hip messed up, why even bother? So I think that's pretty cool, though, that he's still active in everything that he does, because he's 94.
Oh, my goodness.
I think he's now the oldest living president. So.
Wait a minute. Is he on our list? On either one of our lists?
I don't know. I could look. Let me check and see if he is. Okay, let me see who. Where's it at?
I thought he was, but I'm not sure.
Death pool. Okay, here we go. Jimmy Carter's on your list.
Okay.
No, I'm going to change that. I'm going to put somebody else in there. I don't have anybody yet. I don't need anybody to die yet. Die for you. You already got one. It's one more than I have. Anyway. Speaking of LGBT, Philadelphia's first openly gay deputy sheriff was found dead at his desk of apparent suicide. So, yeah, kind of weird to think, he's the first deputy. Actually, here we go. Oh, that's not the right one. Oh, that's a different one. Stop. Gotta stop the madness here. Okay, that's the next story. It says here, Dante Austin, 27, was found dead at his desk at Philadelphia Sheriff's Office. An official cause of death is awaiting confirmation from the medical examiner's office. Austin was an Army veteran who was also served as the department's first LGBT community liaison and known for a fierce advocate. He was promoted to position of sergeant next month. To position of sergeant next month. And Sheriff Joel Williams reflected of Austin's service with Philadelphia's police department, which he joined in 2013, called his death a tragedy for the sheriff's office, Deputy Austin's family, and the local LGBTQ community. He was a person who believed in and cared about everybody. And there's his picture. He had the highest score on the deputy sheriff's exam when he was hired in November 2013. He was the first openly gay deputy sheriff, and we promoted him to become our first LGBT community liaison in May 2017. So it's strange. You think that the guy's got it all together because he's getting all these accolades of being a outstanding guy, and his demons got up to him, and he ended up killing himself. That's such a shame. So, this next story, missing Texas hiker is found alive after almost a week. So this guy here was apparently hiking out in the, he's from Arkansas. He's hiking out in, where I say? I forget where I said.
Arkansas.
No,
or
that's
Texas.
where he's from. Here we go. Searchers located Joshua McClatchy, 38 of Fort Worth in the Quachita National Forest after a National Guard helicopter saw his flashlight. He was found about 105 miles southwest of Little Rock, Arkansas. His sister said a team of heroic search and rescue workers took turns carrying him out of the remote area. So he had been severely dehydrated, and they were able to save his life. So he lucked out. He lucked out that they actually found him. How do you find somebody in a big area like that? I mean, especially if you're off the trail.
Helicopter or an airplane?
But they saw his flashlight. I mean,
he might have been.
I don't know. It's so weird. It says here he was hiking on the Buckeye Trail in the Caney Creek Wilderness area of the southwest Arkansas on June 1st when he texted his mom he was lost. The hiker was located about 10:30 Friday and taken to safety about 3 a.m. on Saturday. A post in the Facebook group for updates posted that they found him, and the land is anything but flat. It's spectacular to see headlamps approach from the dark distance. I'd be scared. I'd be freaking out that there was like people coming out to kill me or something, but I guess in his case he was dying, so they came out to save him. The land, I wouldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Says here, seeing Josh's face as the strongest man, and women carry him out. You got to think about how many people it took to get him out of there, because they switched and had other, they only worked so many hours to get him so far, and then they switched to another set of people. Rescuers put in about 20 miles to retrieve him.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I'm saying. They switched off. It says he was taken to the hospital where he's recovering from general weakness and dehydration. He did not drink water for a few days. A GoFundMe for his search and rescue generated more than $11,000.
Wow.
So he got lucky. He could have easily not been found in a place that vast and that big. So he lucked out. So,
I'm just glad he's all right.
Here's the story, a feel-good story.
Okay.
You like feel-good stories?
Yeah, and then I'll probably head out.
Okay, well then I'll leave you with this feel-good story. Feel-good story. The officer was checking on the welfare of an elderly woman when he noticed her overgrown grass. So he cut it for her.
Well, that's not here in Pennsylvania.
Actually, it's in Steelton.
It is not.
That's your place. Wait a minute.
I couldn't get that lucky.
No, you couldn't. Who could? I just was happy to get someone to help me open my garage door so I could cut my grass tomorrow. I was kind of...
I wish there were more people around here like that.
Well, you're not an elderly woman either.
No, but still.
You're going to have to dress differently. wear a muumuu or whatever the old women wear. They don't wear those?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's what you got to wear to get some attention, to get someone to cut your grass. Either that or you got to show a little leg, and you got to get a guy to, be willing to do it because he's turned on. And it's funny. Anyway, it's funny that this guy was really kind of cool to do that. And
that's what I've been trying to get our township to do.
Well, they're not going to do it for a woman your age. They're going to do it for a woman in her 80s.
Well, I have a handicap thing in my wallet that says they should do it for me.
I don't think it says that.
I don't know.
So I think it's cool. Orono police officer Matt Siltala responded to a recent request to check in on the welfare of an elderly woman. After seeing she was okay, he asked why her lawn was so overgrown. She said she doesn't have anyone to mow it for her. So he grabbed the mower and cut their front yard.
That's what I ought to do. I ought to take that article, take it into the township, and say, look.
Yeah, they would say, okay, well, here's a couple of addresses of places that need their grass cut. Why don't you help them? Anyway, tomorrow mine will be cut as long as it doesn't rain. So.
Is it supposed to rain tomorrow?
I hope not. I don't know.
That's what I'm going to look. Because come on.
Well,
no, it's not according to my phone.
Well, then I'm not going to have an excuse, doggone it. Anyway, someone hit the $530 million Mega Millions jackpot.
Oh, I didn't tell you?
Oh, well, I guess I won't be seeing you anymore.
I still need my zeros.
You won't need any zeros once you get that. That's enough zeros on one number. So, yeah, I'd be happy to get that. Mega Millions player in California turned a $2 ticket into $530 million.
Wow.
In the game's Friday night drawing, a single ticket in San Diego matched all 6 numbers. And while California isn't a bad place to win, the state does not tax lottery wins in California.
Oh.
The lucky person or group of people won't be able to remain anonymous. So it's one of those states where you gotta say who it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of funny, and I just don't understand why you can't do that. I mean, some states let you do that, but I cannot understand why they won't let you. The good news for the winner of California, it provides a full year to claim the prize, which means there'll be plenty of time to plan a claiming strategy. So you have a year to, if there's a group of people or whatever, you have a year to figure it all out. So that's lucky for them.
Yeah, I know.
Not for me.
I am going to scoot out of here.
All right, if you're going to scoot.
Yep.
Scoot. So, okay, Ohio bakery wins $11 million in libel suit against Oberlin College over alleged racial profiling. The college claims that they were racially profiling because of some things that happened in their store. So apparently there were a couple people in the store that the bakery has accused of stealing things, and they happen to be all of color. So here's a story. Ohio jury has ordered Oberlin College to pay $11 million to a bakery, which it was libeled and wrongly accused of racially profiling students. The case stems from a November 2016 arrest of 3 black Oberlin students at Gibson's Bakery and Market near the college's campus in Oberlin, Ohio. One student, Jonathan Aladdin, was accused of attempted robbery for allegedly trying to steal wine and otherwise illegally obtain wine for the bakery. He would eventually confess in a written statement to buying alcohol illegally. So, when they, of course, made the accusation that he was trying to buy it illegally, they were considered racists. So, But that wasn't the case, apparently, because he confessed to the crime. All right, what's this doing? Hold on. Okay. The other two suspects were arrested and accused of a misdemeanor assault. And after that, Oberlin staff members tried to discredit the family-owned bakery. It says Oberlin College staff, including deans and professors and students, engaged in demonstrations in front of the bakery, resulting following the arrest of the 3 students. The suit also said Oberlin Vice President and Dean of Students Meredith Raimondo said, and other college staff members handed out hundreds of copies of a flyer to the community and the media stating Gibson's Bakery and owners profiled, discriminated against their 3 students. The court documents include a copy of the flyer, which include the words "Don't buy." This is a racist establishment with a long account of racial profiling and discrimination. The flyer also listed 10 bakeries competitors and urged customers to shop there instead. Then in November 2016, the lawsuit stated Oberlin College said it severed its business ties with Gibson's Bakery. The shop had provided goods for the school's dining services through a third-party company. While those business ties were reinstated 3 months later, the shop had suffered severe consequences. The combined effects of the defamation, boycotts, demonstrations, and refusal to do business with Gibson's Bakery, and having a devastating effect on Gibson's Bakery and the Gibson family, according to the lawsuit. So sometimes you are better off if you just shut up. So that's $11 million worth of being quiet, because they just spoke wrongly and harmed the business. So more power to them. I'm happy that the Gibson's Bakery followed up and did the lawsuit. So anyway, says here, okay. Just gotta delete that. This is like a movie thing here. According to this article, Boston subway derailed. People injured, major delays after subway car derails in Boston. That seems like something you would see in a some kind of movie. So it's really bizarre though to think about in this day and age. That kind of thing just doesn't happen, but I guess it does happen. And 9 people have been taken to local hospitals after a subway car derailed. And local emergency officials said none of the injuries were life-threatening. That's a good thing. At least it was a fairly basic crash and nobody got killed, so that makes it better. Then we got this one here threw me for a loop. So I didn't know what it was at first until I read through it and figured out what it meant. But it says here, lovingly, a family raises an intersexed child again. Okay, I didn't have any idea what an intersex child was, so that threw me off. Because, I mean, I've transgendered, I've heard pansexual, I've heard all these different things, but I didn't know what an intersex child was until I read this. So this intersex child, for those that don't know, when you're born a male, you have an X and a, let me see if this is right. I can't remember if this is right or not. An X and a Y chromosome, I believe. Well, I'll read it here. When doctors said their youngest child would be a girl, Amy Schofield chose the name Victoria. Then they said the child would be a boy, so they switched to Victor. Turned out neither was right. The blue-eyed baby was an intersex with both male and female traits. So she and her husband decided to call the infant Victory. The name is for hope, for triumph over secrecy and shame. The pain and discrimination suffered by intersex people. Amy Schofield knows sufferings better than most, as this was not her first intersex child. Some 2 decades earlier, she gave birth to another child whose body did not align with the common expectations of boys or girls. Schofield agreed to have that child undergo surgery that tipped the scales to the gender too masculine. But the operation did not settle the issue of gender in the child's mind or protect them from the savage beating decades later. Now, with Victory Schofield has been given the opportunity to try again. Her parents want Victory to be accepted for who she is instead of changing Victory. They are intent on changing the world so it is more accepting of intersex people. What I hope is what every parent hopes. We don't want her to look at herself and say there's something wrong because she's different. So so here's the deal. Instead of having one, Amy first married when she was young, and the first child of more than 20 years ago, instead of having one X chromosome and one Y chromosome, as men have, or two X chromosomes, as typically females have, the child had two X's and a Y. So that is how you determine an intersex. Intersex people are not to be confused with transgender. Intersex have an umbrella term for the number of conditions which are internal or external. Sex characteristics aren't typical of male or female bodies. They're a larger group than they are a larger group than commonly acknowledged. Estimates range from 3 in every 200 births to 1 in every 2,000. I'm convinced that every single person on this planet has met someone who's intersex. It says here, some intersex conditions run in families, like that couple there, because they apparently had 2 of them. And it says here that doctors have long performed surgeries and administered hormones to intersex kids to make their bodies more typical of boys or girls, and there's a growing pushback. 5 states have considered banning surgery until they're old enough to consent, citing potential side effects. But most bills have stalled and pushed back from doctors who say proposals go too far. She took the doctor's advice and raised the family as a boy, agreeing to the surgery to bring down the undescended testicles. But on the onside of puberty brought hips and breasts, something that don't go unnoticed by teenagers. And it's not something I would have thought about until they started making fun of me, said Amy's eldest kid. And so, I don't know, it's interesting to acknowledge that this person, this thing, I remember in high school, they talked about XX and XY and XXY, but they didn't really tell us anything about it, so this is kind of like new territory to most of us because nobody ever really talks about it, and it's so rare, I guess, that we may have met people like that, but we don't really know what it means as far as the intersex goes. I wish we could have been open. I would have understood more if it could have made things easier. The move to Utah put the teenager in touch with other LGBTQ people, and for the first time, exploring femininity publicly seemed possible. Instead of beating, wearing a dress might earn more supportive shouts like "Keep doing you." That all changed one night in 2014 as they, the pronoun they preferred by this person, walked to a Salt Lake City bar wearing a favorite tie-dye dress, and a man shouted, "Where are you going, mama? You're looking pretty good in that dress." Not ever having been hit on before, they turned to say thank you, but the man's face changed when he heard that deep voice didn't match the female body. He blew up and spewing gay slurs and charged weighted pipe in hand. He landed a number of powerful blows. Blood sprayed everywhere where before he fled, leaving the young person dead. A large gash in the head was treated with staples at the hospital. Police investigated but couldn't catch the assailant. See, those kind of things it's a shame that it ever happens. It just shouldn't. It should not happen. So, Amy was in the hospital giving birth to Victory when she heard about the attack on her eldest child. She felt helpless and angry, and determined to protect her baby. She didn't want her youngest child to live with the secrecy and fear that colored her first child's teenage years. I don't want to live with that. Having her half-sibling Victory has, like her half-sibling, Victory has XXY chromosomes. She also separated the condition that means her body doesn't fully respond to male hormones. Her genitalia are ambiguous, but due to the Y chromosomes, doctors marked the birth certificate as male and encouraged Victory's parents to raise the baby as a boy. And Annie and her husband took newborn Victory home. The family lives in Salt Lake City on a plot of land ringed by mountains where they raise chickens, goats, and pigs along with Victory and her two brothers. They decide to raise the baby without pushing the gender. There will be no surgery. At 18 months, Victory began gravitating towards dresses and bows, loudly insisting on wearing long hair. And her pediatrician said Victory's parents took things as they came. During the early years, they were open about accepting whatever is going to happen. Today, Victory is a vivacious 5-year-old with a toothy grin, blonde hair, and a quick mind. She's mostly deaf due to separate genetic condition, but communicates clearly with signs and words and sheer force of personality. She runs around the house at top speed, cradling a reluctant kitten, and Victory knows her body is different from her mother and father or brothers, and it doesn't bother her. I hope that when she gets older, the world understands what intersex is. Like I said, I didn't know what it was. So it's another type of person that is going to be chastised by society, at least till she gets older. But I don't know. I really feel for her, and it's such a shame to think that we would have to go through the days thinking about whether it's a shame that people actually have to think about whether a person is a transgender, intersex, gay, whatever it is. People spend entirely too much time thinking about that, and they get angry about that, and things that just shouldn't happen. We shouldn't see that. We shouldn't have that problem, but we still have that problem. So we got to live with it. But people need to learn that these people are going to exist whether or not you like it. So anyway, dog survives a Long Island plane crash that leaves 2 people dead. So I don't know how the dog survived and the people didn't, but oh man, what a way to see your masters, go in a big plane crash. And how did that dog survive is my main question, because you would think that the people were strapped in, the dog's not strapped in, and how was the dog able to live and maybe he landed, I don't know, maybe it's because they were strapped in that they died. I don't know. It's really strange to think about, but it's a shame. Let's see what they said.
Are dead after a small plane crashed on New York's Long Island Saturday morning. Officials say the Beechcraft A-36 Bonanza took off around 9 a.m. from Long Island's MacArthur Airport. It went down about 15 minutes later after the pilot reported engine failure. The pilot was headed to Bedford, Massachusetts. The pilot and a passenger were killed, but a dog that was on the plane survived. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the crash.
It's just unbelievable that the dog made it out alive. And
if you're stressed about hair,
and oh shoot, no, stop. I just think it's really bizarre to think about that the dog made it out alive. So, what in the world did the dog do that they wouldn't have been able to do? Because the dog probably wasn't strapped in. So maybe that's what saved him. I don't know. Oh, here's another one with that. Let's see if that says anything about the dog. Whether the dog was just that lucky. Yeah, it doesn't, says here, yeah, it says the dog had been riding with victims and managed to escape and was later found by a local farmer. So that's just a bizarre thing to have happen. But anyway, let's see here. Oh, this is good. Those of you that have beliefs in whether or not a woman can preach. Southern Baptists discuss whether one woman can preach. To me, that's shouldn't even be a question, but it is a question. Houston-based Bible teacher Beth Moore, one of the most widely recognized evangelical women in America, has highlighted the issue of sexual abuse from her stage for years. With a thick Southern drawl, she has told audiences how she was abused as a child, sliding from her personal story into a larger message about Jesus. As thousands of Southern Baptists prepare to arrive this week in Birmingham, Alabama, for their usual meeting, many have expected for months it would focus on questions of how to handle sexual abuse and cover-ups in their own churches. Moore is expected to be there, sitting on a panel on sexual abuse with several others, including the president of the Southern Baptist Convention. In the run-up to the meeting, Moore has become a focus of attention. In recent response to a tweet, Moore's nearly 1 million Twitter followers teasingly suggested that she was planning to preach on Mother's Day, except as is her practice. Moore did not use the words preach or sermon to refer to the talk she gave to the holiday in front of the congregation at Bayou City Fellowship, where her son-in-law is the pastor and she is a member. This one is a number she is given under similar circumstances about the biblical story of Hagar, the Egyptian handmaiden of Abraham and Sarah. The debate isn't about Moore, but the idea that she would be preaching at all. So here it is, 2019, and we're still debating whether a woman can be a preacher. That's, to me, hard to believe that it's still even a question. So I just really think that that's kind of strange to see. So let's see here. I need to do something, so I'm going to play my opening because I don't know how many of you actually saw the opening, but I'm really kind of proud of it. So I want to play this here real quick. Maybe. Okay.
The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now.
Okay, did it stop? What happened here? Okay, what happened? Okay, I guess it did stop. All right, now let's see, I'm back. Just had to quickly take a step back. All right. Here we go. Now, we talked about last week Michigan allowing free stay to women who travel to the state to get an abortion. To me, this is an awesome thing. So they're going to allow the women who need an abortion, who can't get an abortion, in, let's see, which state was it? I forget. Let's see. Here we go. Michigan Hotel is opening its doors to any woman traveling to the state to get an abortion. Shelley O'Brien, manager of the Yale Hotel in Yale, Michigan, said it would offer free stays to women coming to Michigan for the procedure due to the restriction measures in other states, according to the Detroit Free Press. Dear sisters that live in Alabama, Ohio, Georgia, Arkansas, Missouri, and any other states that follow with similar laws restricting access. We did not do anything about the way you're being treated in your home state. We cannot do anything about how you're treated in your home state. However, if you can make it to Michigan, we will support you with several nights lodging and transportation to and from your appointment. Several states mentioned in Hotel's Facebook post approved controversial heartbeat abortion. Basically, Alabama's been the most stringent, and it's cool that these opportunities have opened up because it's a woman's body, and I just think that we should not be telling somebody how to use their body. So, kind of good that somebody's stepping up and allowing women to be able to live without being forced to do something, or, I'm sorry, being forced to not being able to do what they need to do. So, I'm fortunate that I haven't had that issue in my life, but I know that some people have that I've known, and I'm, that's Buddy in the background, if you hear him. He says something too. He doesn't like it. Anyway, what do you want? If you're not going to put on a headset and talk, you got to talk to everybody. You can't just talk to me. They don't even know who you are. All right? All right. Good. Anyway, I thought that was a good alternative. So, this was an odd thing. We haven't heard a lot about these kind of things happening lately. Actually, this is the first time I've heard this happening in ages, and it has to do with the TSA. Most of the things we've heard, I mean, we really have not heard anything out of the TSA in a long time, but Rhonda Mengert had an issue with the TSA. It was for a strip search. What a weird thing. I can't imagine why they still have strip searches in TSA. I mean, I would have thought that they would have had more issues with the strip searches than the person needing the strip search. But this woman says it was horrific. Las Vegas woman was sued the Transportation Security Administration, the TSA, after she said they made her strip down in Oklahoma before a flight back to Nevada. And she says in the lawsuit she was traveling through Tulsa International Airport on Mother's Day when an implant in her hip set off a metal detector. She said she agreed for the pat down by the TSA agent. During the search, the agent found a common feminine hygiene product that she was wearing underneath her clothes. She told the TSA agents that the TSA agents then took her to a private room and asked her to strip down and expose her genitals. The lawsuit says they then instructed her to remove the feminine hygiene product. I was told to pull my pants and underwear down to my knees and remove the item and show it to them for inspection. It was horrific. It was horrible. It was degrading. I can't. That's just bizarre. It's so bizarre to think about. She's suffering from severe emotional distress and says the search violated her rights. The TSA issued the following statement about the lawsuit. Due to pending litigation, we cannot comment on the specifics of this case. TSA does not conduct strip searches and is committed to ensuring the security of travelers while treating the passengers of all ages and dignity and respect. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out, because I would think that there is not too many people that would be okay with that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't fathom it. If someone told me I had to strip down and show them what I was, show them my genitals, I can honestly say I would say no. And there's just I can't imagine them doing that, but it does happen apparently, and I don't doubt that she had that happen to her. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting lawsuit, though, to see what they do in court. Say about that. So yeah, what a weird one. Then we got Vicki's Angel Foundation. Here we go. It says here the 11th annual Ride the Rails for Cancer took place this past Saturday at Hoffer Park in Middletown. This is a cool little park. They've got a little train and stuff like that. The event benefits Vicki's Angel Foundation. Foundation's mission is to take the financial worry for families fighting cancer. When my brother was dying of cancer, he had no insurance to pay for his bill, and they ended up having to write it off because he needed the cancer treatments, and he ended up eventually dying from the cancer, but there was no way he could have paid the amount of bills that they were giving him, and it just is kind of a strange reality that cancer can do so much damage to you financially. Anyway, here's the video clip that goes with this. I hope. We'll see if it runs.
Which SUV would make the best investment?
Well, we could say that, but that's not what I was trying to do. Just trying to... Trish left, by the way. She left about 15-20 minutes ago. Here we go.
Took place at Hoffer Park in Middletown. The event benefits Vicki's Angel Foundation, which helps families battling cancer.
By the way, that train runs and is kind of cool because it's a little rinky-dinky train, and it runs between Hummelstown and Middletown. It's pretty cool.
Our fundraiser is prepaid. Everything taken in today, ticket sales, food sales, T-shirt sales, all go to help the families.
It was $8 per person. Vicki's Angel Foundation mission is to help take away the financial worry for families fighting cancer.
Of course, temperatures are rising. Kids.
Yeah, that's it's kind of cool, and they run that train all year, or at least during the summer, spring and summer. But it's kind of cool that they do that fundraiser, and it's good to see people trying to help others and Instead of, the first half of the show, it seems like everybody was being killed and stuff, but I want to talk about that because it's very cool. If you're a Burger King fan, you may not want to go to this Burger King. Burger King employee filmed mopping tabletops after cleaning the floors. Whew. I'm surely not wanting to eat there. Kind of scary that that would be something that they would do at this particular Burger King. I can't imagine what goes through somebody's mind that says that that's okay. I'm gonna just let's just mop the floor. Why can't we mop the floor with it? Oh man. But there's people that are like that everywhere. And just when you think that there isn't, they surprise us because they're still there. And here is, I'm going to put the link in here. Wait, oh, it didn't do it. Well, that's stupid. Why didn't it do it? Let's try to, oh. This is crazy. All right, there we go. Cut. And then paste. Okay. Sorry about this. I put the wrong link in. There we go. There. I can't imagine someone thinking that would be okay though, that you could take the same mop that was doing the floor and you can just, it's okay if you do the tables with it too, because I mean, after all, it's already melted, or it's already wet. But it's so bizarre. People really amaze me with the things that they do. So anyway, Burger King. So now, Amazon, if you're used to getting Amazon packages through FedEx or things like FedEx, you're probably not going to see that anymore. You're probably going to see Amazon doing their own thing or contracting out to independent contractors and stuff like that, because they said they're not going to renew their FedEx contract with Amazon. So, for better or for worse, you're kind of stuck with what it is. But we probably won't see any difference. We're probably not going to see a big change in the system, just in who delivers it. Because I mean, Amazon will probably farm it out to individual companies. They're looking for people to start new companies, express companies and stuff like that. So we're probably not even going to see a change in the business. It'll probably be the same as what we are used to getting as far as the delivery. It says here, FedEx has decided not to renew its express delivery contract with Amazon. On Friday, FedEx announced a strategic decision not to handle air service for Amazon, as we're focusing on serving the broader e-commerce market. Now, you might think that FedEx and Amazon, that relationship is a lot bigger than it really is. I was actually surprised at how little it is compared to the amount of business that they do. So the reality is that Amazon only accounts for 1.3% of the total revenue of FedEx. That's a pretty small amount when you talk about the things that are out there. You think about the packages that are going out. I thought it was a lot higher. I thought that it would have been a lot bigger than that. But according to FedEx, they don't have anybody that's over 10% of their business. And that's the way to be. If you're in business, in that kind of business, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So, and they're not making much money, if any money, on the Amazon stuff. says here there's a significant demand and opportunity for growth in e-commerce, and it's expected to grow from 50 million to 100 million packages a day. 50 million packages a day. That's a lot of packages, and that's just through FedEx. It says here FedEx has already built out a network and capacity to serve thousands of retailers in the e-commerce space. We're excited about the future of e-commerce. It's funny because back when I remember when e-commerce really started hitting in 2000, I had a couple accounts that were e-commerce accounts. I had Provantage was my account, and then I had this account called Outpost, and they were actually doing a lot of business with us. And I remember when we got the scare, the big e-commerce scare, all of a sudden, all of our e-commerce people were on hold. Our vice president was paranoid that everybody was going to go belly up because it was new, it was e-commerce. There was nothing to substantiate their credit lines on because they weren't holding product. They were shipping product from our warehouse, and we panicked and lost all that. And put all those accounts on hold because we didn't know how to handle it. And now today, e-commerce accounts for probably 70% of the business of the company I worked for. So it just kept growing, and our panic was not really warranted, but it was a fear because nobody knew what e-commerce was going to do or how much it was going to do. So really, it's kind of an interesting business. So Amazon, in an email statement, said, "We respect FedEx's decision and thank them for their role in serving Amazon customers over the years. Amazon's been expanding its transportation system for delivery of its products, including next-day and two-day service. It's contracted for cargo planes and trucks. Amazon Prime Air, which is based in Hebron, Kentucky, and near Cincinnati, Ohio, uses its own branded aircraft operated by Air Transport International, ABX Air and Atlas Air, and Southern Air. Last May, Amazon broke ground on an air hub in northern Kentucky that is scheduled to open in 2021 to ensure fast, free shipping for customers. Amazon's been testing a new online service that matches truck drivers with shippers since last year. A new program is called Delivery Service Partners, lets entrepreneurs run their own delivery service with Prime logos for the last mile service. And its freight services allow shippers to get instant quotes on packages that they want to ship between warehouses. Last year, Amazon spent $27 billion just on shipping. That's a lot of money on shipping. That just blows my mind. We estimate that Amazon will pay about $6 a box to move themselves on their own air network. So versus what we estimate Amazon's paying UPS and FedEx about $8 or $9 a box today. So if they can actually bring the price of the shipping down from $8 or $9 to $6, I mean it's the way it should be. So that's a couple $2 billion probably in their pocket just by cutting out, or by losing FedEx, they'll gain a couple $2 billion. Because you figure, how many boxes? You figure at $3, $2 or $3 a box, it won't take them long to make extra money on that. As long as that is true, as long as the average shipping box stays to $6. I'm trying to remember what we paid for an average box when I was working. It seems to me it was $5.50 a box. So if that's the case, that is but I can't imagine that being the same for red and blue shipping as next day and second day air. That's probably true only for the ground shipments, the average ground shipment. So Let me see what this one is. I think this one's also on the FedEx thing. Why you shouldn't care if FedEx drops Amazon. So let's see. Yeah, because you aren't going to see a difference. That's basically what this article was saying. Because you're still going to get your packages in the time frame that you normally would expect to get it. So, would you take that? Come on, I'm waiting. Okay, there we go. We had a weird thing. We've had crane crashes today, plane crashes, and now we have a helicopter crash in New York City. What you need to know about the New York City helicopter crash. A helicopter crash landed on a roof in Midtown Manhattan today. Actually, it was yesterday, sparking a fire and killing one person believed to be the pilot. Here's what happened. The helicopter took off from 34th Street Heliport at about 1:32 p.m. I believe that was yesterday. It crashed
What's going on up here?
What is that? That's a blazer?
What's
a Chevy
that?
blazer?
Oh, this is dope. I love the lights.
It looks like a piece of candy. It's gorgeous. It's just.
What is that? Where does that come from? There's got to be something here. Well, I don't see it. Anyway, just started. Oh, okay. There's where it came from. It came from up here. Oh, here we go. I didn't see this clip. All right. Helicopter crash on New York. Okay, here's a video clip of the crash. I guess I'll switch it over to the. Here we go. I didn't see that. All right, let's see this here. Oh, okay. Wait a minute here. All right, so let's see what this is all about. That's why I had to endure that stupid commercial.
We have what appears to be a helicopter that crashed into the roof. The helicopter is on fire.
Helicopter crashed on the roof of Manhattan building, sparking a fire and killing the pilot. Wonder if there are any other people in that. Preliminary information indicates that the pilot was the only person on board the helicopter. Helicopter tried to make an emergency landing 11 minutes after takeoff. He made a hard forced landing on a roof of a 54-floor building and a fire ensued. I would be so afraid of dying in a fire like that.
The building shake, and you could.
That looks like Mike Tyson. I didn't know Mike Tyson became a EMT.
Actually, hear the alarms when they went off. We could feel it when it hit, but no one knew what it was.
Air traffic controllers did not handle the flight. The National Transportation Safety Board will investigate the crash and determine its cause. There's no information to indicate this is an act of terrorism.
If you're a New Yorker, you have a level of PTSD, right, from 9/11. And I remember that morning all too well. So as soon as you hear an aircraft hit a building, I think my mind goes where every New Yorker's mind goes.
Yeah, I would be terrified if that were me, that if I was in that area, because anything that deals with that helicopter would it would freak me out. It says here the pilot was killed. It was raining. At the time of the incident, moderate to heavy rain was falling in the city. Visibility at Central Park was down to 1.25 miles. Winds were in the east 9 miles per hour based upon interviews. It's not an act of terrorism. Trump tweeted, phenomenal job by our great first responders who are currently on the scene. Thank you to all who do 24/7, 365. So, yeah, it's kind of weird to think about it, but Trying to see. Yeah, there isn't any more information about it. They did identify the pilot as Tim McCormick, who died in a crash. So, let's see if they do have anything. No, they don't have any updates. I thought they might have an update because that happened yesterday when I was putting the show together. So, I didn't have anything. Okay, so then what do we got here? We got more stuff here. All right. Mazda is going to release its first all-electric car in 2020. So that's right around the corner. And if this is the car, that car is sexy looking. This car is very, very sexy looking. But I don't know if that's the actual picture of the car. Says here, Mazda's been notoriously slow to embrace electric cars, but now appears to be seeing the company's first all-electric car next year. It says, in an interview with Automotive News Europe, Mazda CEO Akira Muramoto commented on the upcoming plans. Muramoto was asked how Mazda will hit tough emissions targets in Europe in 2020 and 2021. His answer is the first Mazda battery electric vehicle will hit the market next year. Finally, we will introduce plug-in hybrids from 2021 or 2022. So eventually we'll achieve the target, although we have some difficulties in 2020. Back in 2016, Mazda claimed it would offer electric vehicles by 2019. The company later announced a partnership with Toyota to develop EVs, but concrete Mazda EV reports over the past few years, they've been few and far between. Toyota, far behind all electric cars in their own right, recently showed their new direction, revealing images of their all-electric vehicles last week. And the vehicles, if I'm not mistaken, I did see those. I want to double check it here. See here, Toyota develops. Okay, here's the images of its upcoming all-electric cars, and it accelerates EV plans by 5 years. So they have, I mean, these cars actually look fairly big. By Toyota. They announced its electric cars plans by 5 years and partnering with new battery makers to secure supply of its as it's unveiled the images of all upcoming electronic cars. Anyway, back to Mazda. Let's talk about Mazda, though. We're jointly developing an EV architecture with Toyota, but we'll first introduce our own EV on Mazda architecture in 2020. There's no information as to what the model, the electric Mazda might actually be. There's no indication of where Mazda may release the EV, will come to the U.S. or just Europe, considering the publication of Europe emissions. For what it's worth, he said, we don't make cars only for Europe. So that was from the Mazda CEO. So it's kind of cool, but we'll see. We'll see how well they do. And every electric guy has got to make an electric car. They don't have a choice anymore because it's just, there's so many people out there with ideas of electric, but the only one that's really committed, as far as I'm concerned, is Tesla, because Tesla put everything in it. These other cars, I mean, Chevy wants to discontinue the Bolt. I don't know why. I mean, I think they should have just made it better. But I don't know. They're doing what they think is right, and I guess we'll see over the years whether it is right. Let's go back to the Toyota, though. I want to see more information about that Toyota. It says here, I want to see if they, because I read something earlier this week on the Toyota. Well, the presentation that they unveiled new short-range all-electric vehicles. They kind of look like boxes, little boxes. or like the smart cars that you see on the road today. They look a lot like those. But they're not for comfort. They're not for long distance or anything like that. They're really more for people that want to go from point A to point B, from work to home, home to work. And also the vehicles that they're talking about global deployment, now those look like a little bit nicer cars. I'm thinking those will be probably $60,000 to $90,000. But it looks like they even have a van, and but it looks like some pretty nice cars. If that's, oh wait, here's the presentation. Let's see how long this presentation is. Let me see. No, I don't want to listen to an hour. That would be too much. Besides, we only have 5 minutes of the show left, so I don't really want to spend it all on Toyota. Okay. And that was that one there. I had a bunch of other things. Let me see. I don't want to do that. That would be too much. All right. Hold on here. Okay. Robocallers. I hate robocallers. They take all of our time and bandwidth up. As FCC votes on letting consumers block robocalls, here's what else you can do to block them, to stop them. And these are tricks of the trade, I guess. Hold on here. Get this. There we go. All right. So, Molly Rose, a 29-year-old program coordinator at New York City's based arts nonprofit, used to think her phone was as critical a tool for doing her job. Now it's just a burden. I'm super annoyed by a constant barrage of sneaky robot calls, and I also use my phone for work constantly. 2 years ago, I would have answered every call, assuming they were for work. Now I assume they're fake. On Thursday, the FCC is expected to vote on a new rule that would allow phone companies to block unwanted calls by default before they reach the consumer's phone. That would be awesome. We wouldn't have to answer any more robocalls. That would be awesome. I don't really answer too many calls because I don't get too many calls. The rule would also let consumers block callers that aren't on their contact list. So if like, for instance, if somebody tried to call me, they weren't a friend of mine, or I didn't have their number in my contact list, it wouldn't let them call through. There are a few different proposed actions to curb robocallers. In May, the Senate passed a bill 97 votes to 1 to authenticate and block robocalls and introduce penalties of $10,000 for companies who unleash a flood of automatic being that I was in sales for 30 years, I remember one of the guys there had one of those robocaller machines, and he would just set it up and it would just call all day while I was at work. And he had a side business where he made money off of it. But, it's kind of interesting to see trade groups and companies such as Verizon, AT&T, backed the traced bill, but consumer advocates said it won't do enough to stop the robocalls. Today, more than half, or 52% of phone calls go unanswered. An analysis of 11 billion calls by Caller ID and Caller Block app Hiya found this comes to 26.3 billion robocalls were made to American phones in 2018. That's up 46% from previous years. So, I don't know. I just think it's interesting that these robocallers are still gaining a lot of traction. So, anyway, all right. I guess this is it. This is the end of the show. So, pack your bags. Get your stuff. Don't forget your purse. Don't forget your wallet. And we'll check in with you next week when we'll go and do it again. So Here's our, one more time. This is our opening, but I'm going to do it without the volume because I want to play something else. So I will talk to you next week, and thank you again for listening. And as always, remember, the most important part to everything is just...
We're still the one.